Okay guys, so today I want to talk about how I believe that the ketogenic diet is not the answer for most people, and that if you go on a ketogenic diet, you're going to suffer from mental and physical issues. Physical issues being your overall day-to-day endurance and your day-to-day strength levels. And mental issues would be like things like depression, anxiety, irritability, motivation, stuff like that. I just don't think that this diet is the way to go long-term for most people. So first off, what is a ketogenic diet? So a ketogenic diet is basically when you're intaking foods that are made primarily from fat and protein, mainly fat. You're essentially avoiding foods that are higher in carbohydrates, such as fruits and vegetables and complex carbs. A ketogenic diet means you're getting your calories from meat, fish, dairy, eggs, mainly all animal sources, and you might get a few green leafy vegetables in there if you're lucky. A ketogenic diet is basically when your body is using primarily fats for energy instead of carbohydrates because you don't have any carbohydrate storage in your body. So while you're in ketosis, your body actually uses another system called gluconeogenesis, where you break down a little bit of your muscle tissue to get a certain amount of sugar back into the blood, because there's a few parts in your body that can only run on sugar. If you're following a ketogenic diet and you're trying to perform high intensity exercises and your body's already in ketosis, your body's going to leach from your own muscle tissue. It's going to go into gluconeogenesis and you're going to leach protein from your own muscle tissue because your body needs to turn over carbohydrates at a faster rate, and your body is more efficient at breaking down muscle tissue and turning it into carbs than it is with fats. And your overall performance is just going to go way down. One of the major things that I've noticed out on the golf course is my performance levels from when I'm in a calorie deficit versus when I'm in a calorie surplus and I'm eating lots of carbs. When I'm in a deficit and I'm not eating enough carbohydrates, my performance goes in the tubes, like so bad. And I notice it, and it comes out in my scores. Like I can see it. And my overall focus is just brutal. And I'm not even in full-blown ketosis. So people that are in full-blown ketosis are going to suffer even more than I am out there. It's brutal. You just feel horrible. Your focus is awful. I notice that my strike pattern just gets worse and worse when I'm on a keto diet or when I'm cutting weight and I'm trying to play golf. But when I go from a keto diet to a high-carb surplus diet when I'm playing golf, my performance just goes like this. And I notice it every single time. Here are some of the symptoms of being on a low carbohydrate ketogenic diet. First off, you get super moody on a low carb ketogenic diet. Your day-to-day mood just sucks. Secondly, you get horrible breath. People online like to call it fruity breath, but it's not fruity. It is absolutely disgusting. There's a bad smell to it. Like if you've been around anybody that's been on a ketogenic diet or is on a ketogenic diet, one thing you can notice really profoundly is that their breath is awful. Thirdly, if you're on a ketogenic diet, you're going to have super low energy. You are not going to be energized at all, and life is just going to be, or it's just going to seem like it's just shitty from day to day. You get massive weakness being on a ketogenic diet. If you are on a keto diet and you go into the gym and you try to lift weights, you're going to notice that you can't lift as much as what you do when you're all carbed up. Ketogenic diets can also cause massive dizziness. Anybody that's ever been on a keto or a low carb diet, really low carb diet, if you're sitting down and you get up too quickly, you notice that you get really dizzy and you got to stand over yourself for a second and grab onto something, or else you're going to fall over. I've had that happen many times when I've been cutting, especially when I'm getting ready for summer and stuff like that. Holy, it is absolutely the worst thing. Another symptom of a ketogenic diet is your sleep. You're going to have big time trouble sleeping if you're on a ketogenic diet. Like when I'm really, really going low on the carbohydrates, I'm sitting in my bed at night and I just can't fall asleep. Sometimes I'll stay up till 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning sometimes, and I got to go to work at 8 in the morning. And when I wake up from that 3-hour sleep, I just feel absolutely terrible. So that's another big symptom. Your performance will suffer on a ketogenic diet also. Your day-to-day performance, just even doing your regular activities during the day, you're going to feel so bad on this shit. From an athletic standpoint, I always like to make this argument. Here's the mock experiment that I like to tell everybody if I ever get into a debate on whether a carbohydrate diet, a high carb diet, or a low carbohydrate diet is better for athletes. So let's take two people. They're exactly the same. They're identical people. We'll separate them and we'll put one guy on a super high carb diet where their glycogen tank is full, and we'll take the other guy and we'll starve them down into ketosis. And then we'll get them to do a 1,200 meter run around the track. Who do you think is going to win that? If you think that the low carb guy has a shot at winning that, you are sadly mistaken. The guy that's on the high carb diet is going to absolutely smash them every single time. The guy that's on the low carb diet won't win one time. If you did it 10 times in a row, the guy on the high carb diet would win every single time. I've done this experiment over and over again throughout my life because I've played sports all my life and I'm a high level athlete. And I tell you, every time I get into full glycogen storage, my mental awareness and my physical ability just improves tremendously. There's a reason why carbohydrates are promoted to athletes so they can function their best in their preferred sports, because you need that glycogen storage to function and perform optimally. So how do low carb diets play into depression? The main reason why people that are on low carb and ketogenic diets go into depression is because your brain runs primarily on sugar. Sugar and carbohydrates are your primary source of energy, and your brain needs them to function its best. If you're on a low carb keto diet, you're going to have massive mood swings and you're going to fall into a state where you're going to have big time depression and anxiety, okay? Anxiety is a big part of it too. If you're not eating enough carbohydrates, you're going to have massive anxiety. You have to have a level of glycogen storage in your body to feel really good from day to day. So what is the main mechanism about why you get depressed from low carb diets? Basically what happens is your brain produces this neurochemical called serotonin, and when you eat carbohydrates, that chemical goes up and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel upbeat and it makes you feel like life is enjoyable and really fun. Serotonin is a happy chemical in your brain, and when you eat carbohydrates, your overall level of happiness goes up, not down. If you're on a low carb ketogenic diet, your mental performance just goes in the tubes and you feel like almost like life is meaningless. If you're not producing enough serotonin in your brain, you're gonna feel like life is very dull and you're gonna be very unhappy. On a ketogenic diet, you're just not gonna be able to produce that amount of serotonin that you need from day to day to function your best. So that's the main mechanism. Make sure you're getting enough carbohydrates to up the serotonin in your brain. And I want to caveat that. Make sure you're getting your carbohydrates from whole food sources, okay? Potatoes, rice, whole grain pasta, every fruit in the book, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, all those kinds of carbohydrates where they have fiber intact. You're going to function really well if you're eating those foods. So that's it for today, guys. If you guys like the video, hit the subscribe button down below. I really need the subscribers. And my next video, I'm going to be talking about intermittent fasting, and we're going to be comparing it to a person who eats 3 to 5 meals a day. We'll see you guys later.